Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of From Page to Stage. I'm your host, Wendy Corner, and this podcast is for you if you are an author. Actually, if you're a business person, you are an author. You may have a solo book out, you may have an anthology book out, you may have a blog, but I can tell you what, you are on socials, aren't you? So therefore, you are a published author. Didn't think of it quite that way, did you? Well, think of this one then. Tell us about your speaking. Are you able to get on a one-to-one podcast like this? Maybe you've done virtual stages. Maybe you've done the real platform stage. Maybe you've done none of them and you're going, oh, how do I do this? Come and join us on a podcast. Because if you can have a one-on-one conversation, you can do a podcast. Welcome from page to stage. Now, today I have the joy and pleasure of introducing you to Dr. Endre Hoffmann, the Doctor of Self-Worth. Now, Endre is a gorgeous guy, presently sitting in Hungary. So this is, as you know, a truly international podcast. Endre, I'm going to get you to introduce yourself because you know yourself better than I do. Tell us a bit more about who you are and how you got to where you are today.
I'll try to cut it short because I could tell this story for a few hours, but yes, I'm known as the Doctor of Self-Worth, and I've been feeling worthless, not good enough for most of my life. I came from a disconnected relationship with my dad, and I've been looking for myself for a long time. I traveled over 70 countries and went spiritual, did a few businesses that didn't work out, worked in banking and network marketing. I tried everything under the sun, but I spent all my money, over $100,000, to do personal development, to uncover who I really am, because I didn't know probably my true self. And somewhere in Australia 6 years ago, when my life was about to collapse and I almost lost my wife and my children, then came this big aha and wake up moment when I finally became 100% committed, and I let go of plan B and C, and I realized I'm not the father I always wanted to be, and I was running away my father, and I became exactly the same type of father, angry at myself, not available for my children. I thought something's got to change, and I reached out to a mindset coach after 34 years of this quest to find myself, and I transformed with help. And I needed a coach, and I believe coaches are miracle makers. They bring out the best of people, and I'm glad that you are one of them, because I think we need people like you, and especially someone who can have a voice and you give their voice back. I think that's just more than magical. That's an absolute gift. So yes, 6 years ago, I did this internal work of self-worth, self-confidence, and reconnecting to who I am. And one of my first clients started to call me the Doctor of Self-Worth with my brief and efficient interventions. And ever since, I've been helping groups and one-on-one people overseas on 4 continents with their, let's say, issues and challenges and mindset limitations. Shortly, that's mine.
Oh, fabulous. I mean, it's almost foundational, isn't it? Because unless there's that sense of, well, one, who am I? And two, being comfortable in your own skin, or to a certain extent being comfortable, then nothing else works on top. It's absolutely foundational to a successful, whatever you describe as successful life. Self-worth, absolutely. So, Endre, thank you so much for the work that you're doing. So that's how the Doctor of Self-Worth was birthed. Brilliant. I'm going to take you back in time a bit to when you have got a book out, haven't you? Tell us a bit more about your book.
Absolutely. It was called the How to Become a 6-Star Business, and I co-authored it because I became a member in a group, and that was just an amazing, wonderful group led by Evelyn Clark in Australia,
Mm-hmm.
and put together this wonderful guide for business owners who wanted to deliver a 6-star experience, which is much more than 5 stars as we defined it. It's that wow factor when you're able to surprise and delight. And we came together to write this book, and I think it has become an Amazon bestseller for a while. And I was really excited to be contributing. And it's a wonderful group, by the way. If you come in contact with the 6-star leaders, they're called now, follow them on LinkedIn, and engage and come to the free events, because you will find 6-star people there, leaders helping you to impress and really satisfy your clients, and even more.
Beautiful, beautiful. Was that your first experience of writing, or take us back in time? When did you start to write?
I was much earlier. My real experience, and this is to do with my journey of finding self-worth, was, I call this self-reflective traveling.
Okay.
I have a lot of yet unpublished travel diaries, because I came to the realization that if I expose myself to experiences that are so far away from my programming, because I realized the problem was me, or somewhere along in my mind, then I can maybe find out what my limitations are. And I put myself on purpose into environments where I was triggered. And then I tried to work out what's going on. When I met Maasais, and I found them nomads, and they, if they need to choose between a cow or a baby, then they just choose the cow out in the desert, because the cow would sustain a family with the milk, but they will look at a baby as well, not that important, let's say it nicely. And I've been exposed to experiences, sort of, I think it was in South America, when I found out they are celebrating death. Like, that's really alien to me. And you're wearing white, and then fiesta and partying, because the dead is now returning to source or God. Whereas in my culture, there is, you need to wear black and be miserable and sad and grieving for 6 to 12 months, and some do it for years. And I realized, well, things are not set to stone, and there is probably different habits and norms, and I can choose my own.
That's a real light bulb moment, isn't it? The fact that you can choose your own.
Life-changing. I started to see, and in the Himalayas, the sky burial. I'm not too sure if you heard about.
No, what's that about?
It's in the highlands. They haven't got soft soil to eat, and they haven't got much firewood. So they have this ritual where the dead is given back to the sky, and vultures are always around. So basically the body is recycled. But there's a beautiful ceremony to it. But Western people would be, well, let's say,
challenging,
triggered, disgusted, or, well, I can't say it nicely, probably disapproving what's going on there. But when you start to study the environment and how people have been able to cope, then it all starts to make sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as you say, there's no soil, there's no firewood, so you can't bury and you can't cremate. What else are you going to do? Yeah.
Oh, frozen ground, but that's what do? Use a hand grenade, or all makes sense, right?
Yeah. Oh, thank you for sharing that. That is not something I knew about. Every day's a learning day, isn't it? Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. So you've done lots of travel, and you've got all these travel diaries. Do you think they will get published as a volume or multiple volumes? And if so, is it going to be around a theme of where in the world, or are you going to put them together in terms of the learning that you experienced as a result of those travels? How do you see it working?
I love the question, and yes, my plan is to release it in tiny episodes.
Okay.
Then add it all up to a book or travel diary, and I want that to be published at one point.
Right. So like a blog to start with, so that you can get people interested?
Yes, I think that would be just building maybe interest, and it ties to the Doctor of Self-Worth brand as well, as it's about discovering oneself and self-reflective traveling, which is learning about yourself while you are putting yourself out there to strange and triggering environments. I believe is a wonderful way to discover who you are and who you are not.
I love the fact that you deliberately put yourself in known trigger situations. That took courage, sir. It's off to you. Wow.
Thanks.
I mean, I'm doing a lot of traveling, but I don't think I'm particularly putting myself in triggering situations knowingly.
I knew that if I can face my fears, because for a while I was doing exactly what I was afraid of.
Right.
And it has helped me to expand or crush that comfort zone.
Yeah.
It expanded my self-belief, maybe, which I didn't have. So what I would say is, if you do that and you know that you've been able to cope, whatever is it, 45 degrees, or minus 33, or climbing up a mountain, or not eating for 3-4 days, or however you do it, I believe that you can call upon those moments of struggle and difficulty later on when you need to be resourceful in certain life situations.
I love the fact that you've been intentional about this. I've been away from where I was based for 10 years in Perth for, where are we, coming up for 6 months now. And I have experienced some triggering situations, and I've had to do a lot of internal script flipping, as I call it. But I don't think it was done intentionally, putting myself in a triggering position. I have followed that path that you've explained in terms of learning from those situations where my fear was. But it was almost as though I ran into my fear. Oh, hello. Who are you? Yes, I now know who you are. But I've had that learning experience, but it hasn't necessarily been intentional. Nope, that's not quite true. When I landed in Malaysia, I knew it was going to be humid. I'm not that fond of humidity. I knew that Malay food has lots of MSG and soy sauce in it, neither of which I can take as being a celiac. So from that perspective, I did actually intentionally go there. But thank you for throwing a few light bulbs on for me. Thank you so much, Endre. That was really helpful. Sorry, audience. That was a little bit of a learning experience for me, and I trust that it's been useful to you as well, in terms of thinking about how you can put yourself into triggering situations to see how you can learn from it and take that courage in both hands. Beautiful, beautiful. So that was your writing stuff. I mean, so you've been doing your travel journals. Did you start before you started traveling? Did you start writing before you started traveling?
No, I realized at one point that this is gold. These experiences are, and I should have shared it before, but these experiences that I went through and adventures are probably fun to read for some people who are, I'm not saying couch potatoes, but who are living a comfortable life, yet they still want to have an experience of what it could be like to see the world through someone else's eyes and adventures. And I really wanted to inspire. I actually started to write this book. I think I'm at page 5 or 10. And I did have, in the first few paragraphs, I'm challenging the reader to put their life aside and have an adventure, because, as you know, there is one book that I want to leave with your audience. I think it's called 5 Regrets of the Dying.
Mm-hmm.
It's a book written by an Australian, I think Rhonda, or I'm not too sure the name. You'll find it.
Mm-hmm.
And
audience will find it and stick it in the show notes for you. So you've got a link there.
And one thing out of the 5, one of those regrets are not taking chances to travel and explore the world.
Yeah. You get so much, well, so much learning, so much of a different view of life, because if you stay in your lane, as it were, and you only ever experience what you've only ever experienced, then you'll only ever experience all of that again. It's opening up those horizons, isn't it? Beautiful. Thanks, Endre. So that was your speaking stuff. Sorry, your writing stuff. Tell us about your speaking. What's been your speaker journey?
My speaker journey is, I did present in a few businesses, but if I really look at it seriously, then my speaking journey is tied to or connected to the Doctor of Self-Worth brand. So I love talking about how to uncover authenticity, how to live a life on one's terms, what the steps are, what's the method, how to find the person under all of those conditionings and programmings, and how to dig out a powerful being who is having fun, who is playful like a child, who is making a playground out of their life to contribute, to have fun and joy. I believe each and everyone has a chance, no matter where you were born, and just put things into perspective. And if you are at that place of self-doubt where I have been, well, if you start looking for an example or an inspirational person, I can tell you someone else who had a missing limb or a leg or some major disability has gone so much further than you are now, that you will find hopefully one day that the excuses don't work.
Yeah.
If you take it seriously and invest into your growth, into your developing and evolution, then a personal brand or a business is a natural progression.
Extension of that, isn't it? Yeah.
Find your playground, or you build your own playground, and you just have fun and get paid for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. So you did presenting work, and I'm hearing from that's almost like a teaching, facilitating role.
We could call it that way. And I actively participate in social media, and I aim to share at least one piece of content each day that is an aspect of self-worth, or how to overcome challenges, and I'll just keep it pumping out, because I still believe if there's one person who can see that video and they have a slight change of mind, I know how far that takes people, because I think mindset breakthroughs are parabolic. You can imagine a parabolic curve. Then in the beginning, the change is slow, but then it accelerates.
Yes.
So when one feels worthy for a new life, or for making double in their income, or or have respect or feel recognized, then it will be reflected. And that's the most important part of my work, when a new self-image is started show in the world, in the 3D world.
Beautiful, beautiful. Is most of your work done virtually, or do you do in-person stuff as well?
Most of it is virtual, but I am just planning to put together a bi-weekly, one workshop, one lecture, one workshop, one presentation type of for 12 months, not far from where I live. And I will see how we go. Probably I'll record it. So
do, because then you've got it to use virtually anytime. Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Oh, fabulous, fabulous. So that's we've looked at your writing, and we've looked at your speaking. What are you working on at the moment?
I'm working on a new country home. To be honest, I am spending time to set up this farm that where we moved to be able to grow our own food. And I understand that when it's sort of done, I've read this book called I think it's called 3R Garden, like where once you build it properly, you wouldn't need to spend more than 3 hours a week and it will feed you. So I really like that idea, because I'm not a farmer, and I'm doing some renovation work, and I am showing up on summits, which is again exposing me to share the message of self-worth, how important that is as a pillar for success and a solid self-image, which is probably a few steps in advance of front of where a person is, because I'm always asking people, who are you becoming?
Yeah, it's not who are you, it's who are you becoming, because as you say, there's that progression towards where I'm heading. Back to the intention again, isn't it?
About having almost laboring out a new version of you. And start to filter out, because the mind is always filtering. So start to filter out the 3D world according to the new version of you. How exciting that would be.
Yeah.
That's changing and evolving.
It is fun though, isn't it, when you look at what's going on around you and you go, I know where I'd want to be, but that's not where I am. And if I'm telling myself I'm here and actually I'm here, there's a big gap, and my subconscious mind is going, what a load of tosh. How do you deal with that one?
There is a big ditch, usually.
Yeah.
Massive gap in consciousness. And I have to admit, I had gigantic goals set. And that's one of the best ways to self-sabotage yourself, because you don't even believe it's possible.
Yes. Yeah.
And I kept working hard, because my other belief was I have to work hard. So I worked hard for the goals I couldn't believe I would ever. So please, if that's where you are, get a coach, get someone to help you, so you're not wasting your time and resources and money and
energy. Yeah.
And energy.
There you go. If that's your situation, guys, go talk to the doctor. His information will be in the show notes. He's a very good doctor in that direction. Thank you so much for sharing that, Endre. So do you think there's you got the travel books coming up at some point? Little by little, those will come out. I love the idea that you're drip feeding them out. Beautiful, beautiful. Because as you say, you've got lots of journals that you can pull together those adventures and what you learned from them, and ultimately the volume. But to start with the different chapters, because that's the thing, you can put out a chapter at a time, can't you? Yeah.
I usually had, day 1, 2, 3, 4. I can just probably cut and paste the most exciting bits and pieces.
Yeah. I'm absolutely with you on that. I'm doing a daily reel on my Facebook and my Instagram page, My Life with 20 Kilos. Audience, if you weren't aware, I am on a bit of a similar adventure at the moment, living for a year with 20 kilos. And that is literally all I have to my name in my case. Admittedly, that doesn't cover the tech side, which goes in my backpack, but all my living stuffs are all clothes. Anything I buy, something has to go out because I literally have 20 kilos as I'm on my flights. So that is an adventure in and of itself. And when the book comes out, probably next June, there's going to be a fair few tales in there as well. So I love what you're thinking about on that one, Endre. Absolutely great.
Probably I could help with one section to what you do, or maybe I had a 7-kilo adventure in India.
Oh, wow.
Going back to Australia, I was flying with Kiwi. I don't know if you know that, but they are really cheap airlines, and I realized I can't really take a check-in luggage.
Yeah.
And I thought, ooh, my laptop. Well, I need some underwear, but the basics. So I took photos of my coaching note for most of my clients. That was in my phone. And I did a 3-week trip in India with one backpack. And that was probably about 10 kilos because I have a heavy laptop, but minimal.
Yes. Yeah. You had a base to go back to, didn't you, with everything there?
Mm.
Yeah. Over there is my whole life. I don't have a base. So that's where the 20 kilos comes in. It's an adventure. It's an adventure. So that's what is working on at the moment. Tell us though, how when you're speaking about your work, how do you take those words from and embody them from page to stage? How do you do that?
Probably they come out naturally. I'm not working hard to formulate and organize it too much.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully then it does come through authentic. I could do a lot more. Probably tidy up how I speak and my style and all the nitty-gritties that probably you could help me with, because you are a master of that.
The thing is, it depends on the style of speaking that you're doing. I was talking to another podcast episode that I've recorded today about the difference between keynoting and teaching and facilitating and MC work, and all of them have slightly different skill sets required. And so that's why I was getting at to you earlier with in terms of your facilitation and your teaching work. That seems to me where your skill set really lies, and that's what you love to do. So as long as you are being effective in what you're doing, crack on, sir. If you want to do a slightly different version of that, then yes, look at honing those particular skills that are required. But you're a very effective communicator, Endre. And
Well,
that's what you need.
thanks very much. I love to hear that, because I still have a tiny bit of criticism going on, probably from my earlier life, and I know there is always room to improve.
Yeah, well, that's it. We all have. We're never fully there. I was working with a lady once, a beautiful Canadian lady, who asked me when I didn't do a brilliant job when I was speaking, was my itty bitty shitty committee working? And I thought, what a beautiful way of describing it. I have to put the slightly Canadian accent on, because if I say it in my British accent, itty bitty shitty committee, it doesn't quite have the same impact. I pronounce my T's. But the point is that critical voice, you've got to silence it, because you're right, it will have a go at you. And there's critique and there's critical. And they are two different things.
Yeah, so true. And some people are having this, what I call this, war zone, internal conflict going on.
Yeah.
And that's very hard to to be authentic from that place, when they're beating themselves up and they don't feel comfortable, and they have these, I call, misalignment between usually two parts of the mind, and conscious, unconscious, where, and you probably have seen hundreds and hundreds of cases of people who want to share their message with the world, but the yeah buts have a whole list of 20.
Yes.
They're not smart enough, not good enough, or I'm not important enough, I don't deserve it, or I wouldn't be recognized, they will punish me, all of those disempowering beliefs.
Yep. Those internal scripts that really are not helping. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And isn't it fun, though, to do the archaeology there, find them and go, oh, how's that one working for you? It's not. Okay, how about we flip that one round? That's where your skills lie. Beautiful, Endre. Thank you. Thank you. So we've looked at your speaker journey, your writing journey, what you're working on at the moment, how you embody your words from page to stage. As you say, you live them out. So that's you embodying your words. Beautiful, beautiful. As we're winding up, is there anything, some final words that you have for us?
Probably I want to leave you listening to us, that you need to believe that change is possible. But there's a distinction to that, which I had difficulty to jump. Change is possible for you. So you need to believe that before change can happen, and it will happen as long as, and I have a free resource on my webpage about this, you'll find it. As long as you need to find the person who has done it, and they teach and take someone through the journey. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
Take it really easy, but please then commit to the process. Do every activity. And if you're serious about yourself and learned from my $100,000 cost of not doing the right thing, then please set it up in a way where you are in the right structure, you're going to follow through, and you will somehow have skin in the game, yet having some sort of guarantee of results. So they either work with you until you get there, or if it's not working, then get your money back and go somewhere else, because maybe your old sabotage is still taking you to practitioners, therapy that would not help you. It's okay, but then please move on. So don't be the people who I come across who've been doing sort of things for years and years and no change, no results.
Yeah. And you wonder, have you not sussed that there's no change? Why are you not questioning that there's no change? But again, you're going back to that, I don't deserve to be having the change. So you're recreating the situations over again. Yeah.
Yeah, you got it. And I believe that's why I've set my business up to have a free experience and then money back guarantee.
Mhm.
I don't want to be one of those who are just, taking people's money on time.
Yeah.
It's not fair. And I hope this market of helping people to change and bringing the best out of them will be transparent, and you will be able to see who is real.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, Endre, I feel your passion, sir. I really do. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your from page to stage. Thank you.
Appreciate you. And Wendy, just keep shining the light, because the world needs you and your wonderful, wonderful podcast. Thank you very much.
Bless you. Thank you. From us, bye from now.